welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at a subject that a lot of guitarists really struggle with. Fretboard navigation, i.e. knowing the neck, knowing where the notes are. So I'm going to flash back briefly to the 1980s. I badgered my parents for some time to get me a guitar. So they duly acquiesced and off we went into this Leeds city centre to pick up a classical guitar, nylon strung classical, really wanted electric obviously. And I remember by the time we'd got home, which was about half an hour drive, in the back of the car I'd already figured out where all the notes were on the neck and a whole bunch of the open chords. Now why was I able to do that? Well, it's a very simple reason. I already played violin and I played the piano. And in both of those instruments, you always learn to read music as you do it. So your knowledge of the notes and their relativity to each other is already there. So it was a relatively simple matter to map that out onto the guitar because I understood the tuning. Now, for most guitarists, they don't come from that background, hence the struggle. Not only that, this is complicated by the fact it's a stringed instrument. It's not like the piano. If you want middle C, there's only one place to play it. And of course, you've got one octave of a keyboard and it just repeats. It's pretty easy to learn. Any stringed instrument, however, is a matrix. You may have numerous places, well, you will have numerous places to play any given note. For instance, on an electric guitar, or any guitar, in standard tuning, you've got your high E, well, that can be played in 1, 2, 3, 4, sort of, as we've got a 24 fret guitar, it can be played up to 6 places. And this is what confuses people. As a result, it holds their playing back, their ability to do stuff. So it's the understanding of notes relative to each other that's the crucial factor here. So I see a lot of erroneous methods, time-wasting methods on the internet about this, obviously, but from people who don't understand this fully. Things like and nonsense like the cage system and all this stuff. So we're going to forget that. We're going to go deep on this one and do it properly. So buckle up. I'm going to show you one main technique that I use to teach people this concept and a few other ones that are also useful. So here we go. So here's the first concept. What you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to write out 5, 6, 7 maybe random notes like so. Now ideally what you do is you mix up sharps and flats, and even as you can see here, maybe a double, like a C flat, which is an odd note but totally doable, or a C, like a double sharp or a double flat. You really mix up sharps and flats, and then you can see the lines there are indicating which direction you're going from note to note. And then what you do is you visualize your fretboard and imagine you're playing that set of notes starting from your first finger. So your first finger is going to be on the A flat in this case, right? And then without moving the hand and without sort of hunting and pecking around, visualize where that B is. You can do this with your eyes closed preferably. Maybe not to start with, but as you get better at it. So you go, okay, right, so I can either play the B there or I can play it there, but I'm going to play it here. Okay, so A flat to B, going up. And then I need D sharp. Right, okay, well that's under my second finger. Right, no problem. And then I need to go down to F sharp, that's under my third. Now I need a G up here, I'll probably play that with my first, I guess. And then C flat, which of course is the same pitch as B, is there. Okay, brilliant. Then you go on, you put your second finger on the start note. So in this case, I've got A flat there. I can play B there with my third finger, so I'll do that. D flat's either going to be there or there, so I'm going to go there. F sharp can now be under my first finger, I suppose. G can be there under my little finger. And B, C flat can be there. So I've had to reconfigure the notes according to what I can reach. Then you do it from your third finger. Okay, B, where B, yeah, it's going to be here still, isn't it? D sharp, okay, still do it there, I guess. F sharp under my second finger. G I can get here now. And then B under my third. And then you do it from your fourth finger. A flat, I can't get that, so there. D sharp under my third, F sharp under my fourth, G under my second, B under my fourth. And that's it, random notes. So it forces you to think about the pitch names and where they are. You can also think intervallically as well. So, like for instance, we've got, like a major seventh between the F sharp. There. So you can think in both ways, but initially you want to be thinking purely in terms of the note names and where they are. Now, when you first do this, you're going to be doing it, working it out. So the second level of this is then to work it all out in your head first. So you look at the notes on the page, and then you visualize playing it without putting your hands on the fretboard. And then ideally, once you think you've worked it out, you just go to it and play it without hesitation. Guitarists have a terrible habit of playing lots of wrong notes before they arrive at the right one, which is not a great habit. So that's the killer exercise. Say, that's a tough one to do correctly. Here's a slightly easier one. You've got to practice scales, right? Okay, and lots of different ways to do that. But in the very initial stages of learning scales, here's something that can make the difference. So, obviously, take a bog standard major scale. Now that's easy because it's all natural notes. And one of the first steps of learning any scale is transposing it. So say we take it down a semitone. So now we're in B major, probably less familiar territory for most guitarists. It's a deep, sharp key. If it was a deep, flat key, it'd be even less familiar. So as you go through, rather than just going and running it mechanically, you start going, okay, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. Oh God, it's getting a bit high for me. But yeah, you're singing and naming the notes as you go, and you do it simultaneously. So you don't play the note and then play it and then name it. Name it first and play it, or preferably at the same moment. Those two exercises, particularly the first one, that'll get you the results. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. As I say, that main exercise, it's pretty hardcore. A lot of experienced players struggle with it, but it will, over time, with practice, transform your understanding of the neck, musical intervals also, and your playing. Say, sometimes there's no shortcut for this stuff. You've got to build that mental map. And as I probably already said, this is something you can do away from the instrument. You don't need a guitar to do this. It's all up here, where it counts. So, click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share if you're feeling generous. And I'll see you on the next time. Bye.